Lin Decode number 12. The new war is through money. Who's the real third world country? China versus Western. On the previous decode number 11, I talked about surplus qualified graduates leads to rat race within the field. Pretty much what I'm talking about is as many graduate students within the field, how it dumps down and what is the effect that causes. Alright, let's get to today's decode. So, I'm not sure how many of you guys will understand what I'm trying to say about this topic, because I know a lot of Western media is pointing fingers on China at the moment. But what China is doing through now is going through a money war. Where Western nations or a lot of countries has used foreign aid to give money. Those who needed money. Obviously those who are on the natural disaster, that's a different story, but I'm just saying just generally needs money. And where the Western world's philosophy is, alright, we'll give you money, but you better, one of the outline is to fix your human rights. Or, building relation. And or probably lean to their side instead of any other country because we're giving you money. China is doing a complete different opposite. Instead of sharing foreign aid to country those who need the money, they just go through giving them money for borrow. And if they can't borrow about it, then within their contract plan, they'll take certain stuff or certain land, maybe borrow the land or maybe use it for good. And whether they establish hotels or perhaps businesses or whatever sector. The media at the moment is trying to say, well, China is invading, it's colonizing. At some degrees it is, but think of it this way. China doesn't use military guns shooting down people or bombs, but the Western world did. Many former colonized nations, third world countries, many of them parts of Africa, parts of Southeast Asia, parts of Latin American, parts of Middle East, parts of Europe. You know what? It's a history that we cannot avoid. It's already in the past, but they've been former colonized. What China is trying to do now is giving money. See what's their country can offer. Right now, one of the hottest topic will be in Cambodia. China has giving money like a loan shark or like a loaner, like a bank. You know what? You want money? We'll give you that much money. And if you don't want to pay it back anything, that's fine. We just take certain stuff from your country and that's it. And it's up to the government to agree or not agree. Because at the end of the day, it's the government to choose. So right now China wants to, build relations and as well build trades or building infrastructure in return, depending on the outcome, or with minerals or raw materials or whatever. So, right now the successful part is in parts of Africa, countries who are very successful, who followed the initiative of the China plan. They're building, in return of raw material back to China, where China is building the infrastructure and everything. Where the Western world has been pumping so much money for those who need it or former colonized. Alright? And they do pump a lot of money. But it's getting them nowhere because it actually end up being like welfare a form of welfare, even though it's like a charity donation, large part of sum of 100 million or whatever $1 million you pump to the country, and it's like, you know, they drag their hand out and they want more. Where China is doing completely different. Whether they try to build wealth or economy for Chinese interests, many locals, especially in Cambodia, is very angry because they are not benefiting. But if people start to realize what Chinese people are doing, they're actually building a reputation or tourism or perhaps trade in some ways in whatsoever. I'm not saying everything what China's doing is 100% correct, but at the end of the day, you have to see the facts of war, what happened in the past. You know, you see Japan, especially Japan and Germany, they have to apologize so many countries after what they've done. But now this time China's doing in a fair, by the law, by the books, recognition, money. As right now you guys know, China is one of the richest nations. Many Western nations are very jealous and they see themselves as the first world country, or for the luxuries and, you know, everything. But who would have thought China, in the opposite hand, is you know what, even though it's classified a developing country, but it's still classified a third world country. Doesn't have the quality of life as to the standards of the world would like to see, and the freedom. But at the end of the day, right now, the quality of life in China is really, really good. It's not to the stage that everyone would like, but at the end of the day, it has improved significantly to the point. So, the real question: who's the real third world country? Like I said, for those who does not know about this topic, you really do need to do your bit of video search about this. Parts of the Africa countries, Ethiopia and you name it, and you know, countries surrounded Ethiopia around there, even though we do play too many clips about their countries, like, you know, poor, hunger, deserted place, malnutritious, where the Western world always play that sort of picture or that sort of film, or too busy going through war after war, China is actually secretly shaking hands and doing huge business trade deals and relationship building, infrastructure, building the country up where Western country wouldn't even dare or think about doing it. Where they like to keep them poorer and poorer is better, and extract some goods, or they're ripping their export to them. Where a lot of Western countries, I only speak on Europe. Europe is gone already with the migrant wave. It's like a dumpster. I've seen the videos, and graffiti. The infrastructure couldn't sustain or maintain. There's a lot of high costs. America, Australia, New Zealand, the rest, we spend too much largely. Well, I can't say US, but Canada, Australia, and those who has a welfare state spends 1/3 of their tax, country tax towards the welfare system, and they struggle to pay or maintain or sustain their infrastructures. Even if they do, it takes too goddamn long time to be built. Where China, you bring Chinese people to build any infrastructure, it's like this, very simple. They use manpower and to build it all the way up, and they get it done quicker. Now, whether it's a quality level or anything like that, I'm no expert in that area. But what I do know, China has been building non-stop. Oh boy, non-stop. So, the real question is, who's the real third world country? If the way how China's doing and helping other countries like that, especially towards Africa, there's African countries who gets privilege out of this, the first world countries will be a third world country. The reason why I'm saying this is because they have the technology, they're building updated current infrastructures, building, and things where the Western world couldn't afford to do. Donald Trump said, you go to China, they're building massive brand new airports where US, they couldn't even afford to do it. And which is true. The quality of life of these third world countries will improve massively. So that's why I said the Western world will transform into a third world country, because they cannot sustain, they're spending too much money, and the migrant waves and things like that, and spending too much money on the welfare, or just cannot sustain, and it just makes it even difficult to make it happen. So you wouldn't be surprised, those third world countries, even though the name of the country sounds very, very hidden, but I give you a decade or 2 decades, they'll be on the big screen. And when they are, we first world countries will be shocked and amazed and ask ourselves, why the hell we are like this? We're just too busy going through wars after wars. Alright, that's the video.